So you want to earn a full-time living only playing guitar.
Offspin Media Friends presents So, You Want to Be a Professional Musician? Hosted by Rajesh Ravi.
Hi, I'm music composer and producer Rajesh Ravi. Welcome to yet another episode of So You Want to Be a Professional Musician. And today we're going to be talking about whether and how it's possible to earn a full-time living playing guitar. Now, the answer to whether you can or not is something I can tell only after I've explained how to earn a living playing guitar. Now, when it comes to professional guitaring, there are three broad classifications of the types of work you could do to earn money. And in this episode, we'll be going through all three of them. The three being session work, live work, and teaching. So, I want to start with the boring one first, which is teaching. Between the three, the easiest type of work to get is teaching. However, it's also the least interesting and it also has a cap. Like beyond a point, there isn't really much you can earn per student. Or another way of looking at it is you can't handle more than a certain amount of students in a day. So if you're just starting off and you need something to help you pay your bills, I think teaching guitar is a great way to start. You can either teach privately or you could teach at a music school or even a regular school that needs a music teacher. If you're thinking of teaching at a school, it's pretty simple. Just approach the school and see if they have a vacancy and hope they give you the job. If you want to teach privately, of course, you have to spread the word around wherever you live, either through social media or through friends or people in your area, or print flyers and ask your local newspaper guy to distribute it. I had done that once when I wanted to teach piano, and results are pretty effective. So that's something you could do. Now, one thing when it comes to teaching is a lot of people are casual learners. They just want to learn how to play the guitar or learn how to play their favorite songs. Some of them may be thinking of taking it up semi-professionally or professionally, so they'll want to learn things like music theory and other, proper guitar playing techniques. However, here, if you have a degree from a Trinity or a Berkeley or any other even local music school, it opens up that many more avenues because there are a lot of parents that want to send their kids to be trained in order to pass music school exams. So if you yourself are someone who has passed music school exams, then that opens up another avenue for you to get paid teaching guitar. Well, yeah, enough about teaching. Now let's move on to the two more interesting ones. The second one I want to talk about is live music work. I want to leave session for last because between the two, live work is much, much, much easier to get. Now, with live work, you may either be asked to play accompaniment for a singer or play lead guitar. Now, this could either be you playing cover songs or you being asked to play on someone's original material. Of course, realistically, most of the work you're going to get is going to be cover songs. But the rare opportunity that you get to play on an artist's songs live is much more fun, of course. Playing original material is always more fun than playing covers. However, in this case, the money is going to be in covers because the number of cover gigs that happen are just way, way more. Unless you happen to reach a stage where you're playing lead guitar for a very established artist and they're letting you in on the creativity, or you formed a band with your friends and you all have finally made it big, most of your live work, or definitely in the initial stages, most of your live work money is going to come from playing cover songs. And for that to happen, one, you need to be very proficient with your instrument. You also need to know music theory. This is something I keep harping on in every episode. Learn music theory. And other obvious stuff like you need to keep practicing regularly with the band. You need to lock in with them. Keep your ego aside. Learn to get along with everyone. At the same time, if any work environment is getting too toxic for you, leave it. Maybe when you're just starting off, you may feel like you missed the opportunity of a lifetime. Trust me, there are going to be many, many opportunities. And of course, you always look for your own. And now we get to the third type, session work. Now, the thing is, it's going to take a while for you before you start getting proper commissioned session work. I mean, you might be playing session with your singer-songwriter friends, or if you're part of a band, of course, you'll be playing guitar in it. And in some of these cases, the person hiring you may have somewhat of a budget to pay you, but session work is not something that's going to earn you a lot of money. Unless you're very experienced, you've been in the scene for a while, earning a full-time living playing only session work is not a thing for most guitarists. Definitely not in India, at least. Also, when playing session guitar, there's one quality you need to have which may not be so important as a live guitarist, and that's versatility. being able to play in a variety of genres. Now, of course, ideally, guitarists are hired based on what they specialize in. But again, that's something that happens at a much, much later stage. Initially, you're just going to be looked at as a vendor and you need variety. You could be called in for a session and they can tell you, I want something in this style or that style. And you had to be able to adapt on the spot. Of course, typically nowadays, no one's just going to call you in the studio and ask you to come up with stuff unless, again, it's a very big budget project and they have the time and resources to, book a studio endlessly. In most cases, what happens is they're going to give you the song, they're going to tell you what they're looking for, where they want you to play, how they want you to play, and you'll have a few days to rehearse and come up with parts. However, learning a new genre or understanding an entirely new style of playing guitar is not something you can master in 5 days. So, if session work is something you want to take seriously, you have to start diversifying from now itself. Not only playing technique, which is something you need even as a live performer, or even if you're teaching a very serious student, but technique in different types of music and understanding the aesthetic and understanding sensibilities of as many genres as possible. That is what is going to fetch you regular session work. And now, of course, it's time to answer the most important question, which is, can you earn a full-time living only through guitar? And the answer is yes. Not a simple yes, but a yes. By which I mean, you can't cherry pick what you're going to play and what you can't. Like, you can't say, okay, I will only play in these genres and I don't want to teach and I only want to play session for this type of music, or I won't play live if it's a cover gig, and expect to earn a full-time living. You're going to have to keep learning, keep improving, and not just look at a select few examples from a different time period, from a different place on the planet and say, oh, that person only does this and they earn a full-time living. Well, that's them. You are clearly not in that position. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So when you're starting off, say yes to any kind of work you're getting, whether it's teaching, whether it's session, whether it's live, whether it's this genre, this song, that song, doesn't matter. Because you only want to play guitar and you have bills to pay.
You just listened to So You Want to Be a Professional Musician, hosted by Rajesh Ravi, produced by Offspin Media Friends. This podcast is live pretty much everywhere, on Spotify, on Amazon Music, on Apple Podcasts, on Audible, on Gaana, on Saavn, on Wink, pretty much any other podcasting platform we could think of. Share it with a friend that you think just has to listen to this podcast. And if you don't mind, give the Offspin team a like, maybe a subscribe on their Instagram page. Keep listening to Offspin content and keep listening.
The opinions expressed in this show are personal to the guests and the host and do not necessarily represent the opinions of the producer or the platform. This show does not intend to defame and denigrate any individual or organization in India or outside. The show is created for entertainment purposes only. It does not encourage smoking, drinking, or any kind of substance use. It may contain the use of harsh language that may be considered offensive, rude, or profane by the listeners. It may also contain incidents that mention or describe mental health issues, casteism, suicide, and violence. Listeners are advised to use their discretion.